Thank you for your interest in the Retained Recruiter Show, powered by iIntro. Before the show starts, I have a small favour to ask of you. Our goal is to provide you with the most insightful, helpful and practical recruitment knowledge and know-how from the best in the recruitment industry. If you like this channel and enjoy watching our content, hit the subscribe button to get notified as soon as we upload a new episode. Thank you again, and as ever, we're rooting for your success. Now, time for the show. Hello and welcome to the Retained Recruiter Show. My name is James.
And my name is Jo. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And we have a very special guest in the room today, don't we, James? Would you like to give our special guest his grand entrance?
Yes, I will give him his grand entrance now that he's had four sugars in his cup of tea that he's just glugged before we start this show. So he should be a live wire. He is the one and only Brad Shackleton, who we're delighted to be sharing the stage with today. Brad, really appreciate you. I'm sure people know you as a motivational sales and leadership coach, world-renowned, £1 million biller, so many things to talk and share about in your lifetime that you've already crammed into those 23 years, because you're only about 24 now. So you've crammed all those things. We're looking forward to having you with us today to share and educate our audience on some of the things that can help them have a fantastic 2026. So what have we got lined up, Jo?
Well, a lot. So winning new business in 2026. I don't know about you, Brad, but everyone we're speaking to at the minute is talking about winning new business. So we're going to talk about how to motivate and develop your people to deliver, how to pitch your business proposition, the biggest pipeline mistakes that sales teams will make, how to structure client meetings and getting client meetings as well, which is very important, how to build a predictable qualified pipeline. And then also we're going to talk a little bit around coaching and performance discipline that are now the non-negotiables for 2026, and lots of other bits and pieces. Very, very exciting.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of today. Yeah, I've been very excited about this. So thanks for having me back.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen you for about 12 months or so, Brad, because you've been busy.
I have been. Yeah, I've been travelling pretty extensively the last year or so to Australia, Asia, Italy, Switzerland, Ireland, and most recently, I literally just got back. I'm doing a huge project in the super yacht industry right now. So I'm consulting for the world's largest super yacht sales and charter business, and I've learned a great deal about how they're doing BD, developing relationships. So yeah, it's a real pleasure to be kind of traveling internationally, multiple industries, to then see how much I can bring back into what I call my maiden or my mother industry, and where I started my life in sales. So yeah, it's great to be here today. Thank you.
Good. So Brad, what are you going to share with us today? What are the things that top of your list of things to share with people today?
Yeah, so I thought I kind of put a bit of an agenda today, and I thought I would share with you, and I'm happy for you guys to probe and also take questions from the audience. I thought the first thing I would kind of give a bit of an overview on where I think I'm seeing underperformance right now. So any coaching programs that I deliver, and for those of you that haven't seen me speak before, don't know me, my expertise is in motivating, creating and developing high performance sales teams and businesses for CEOs, entrepreneurs that aspire to become the number one. And my job is to fix their business and develop it as quickly as I can for them to take them, and with a super high success rate, which I'm pleased to share. So I thought I'd really break down initially where I see underperformance, and ultimately getting recruiters and business leaders to really think about, how do we go about making money as recruiters? What's required? Where am I seeing underperformance? And then with the time I have, a few snapshots around just some of the content that Jo kindly shared there to help people get a bit more skilled. I think the biggest challenge in recruitment and in sales, right, is we're always on the hamster's wheel. Mm-hmm. And I've got a car behind me for a reason, which James and Jo know about, and I'm looking forward to sharing a bit more about why is that car in the background. So stay tuned towards the end. But I love Formula One. I'm sure if a driver spent his or her entire time behind the wheel, they'd be useless and they'd be exhausted. And if you look at the amount of time that goes into reviewing the data, the performance, they have to operate at 99% plus efficiency to be on the top 2-3 on the grid. So they can only continue to review the engineering, the aerodynamics, the driver's performance, the team performance with what I call smart time, working on the car, working on the business than just racing it. So I think the first challenge that I see is that if people don't have a coach and someone to pull them away, it's very easy to rabbit hole down the wrong avenue. And that could be either trying to work in the wrong market, the wrong clients, old and ineffective strategies, techniques, and so on. So with the time I have, I thought I would try and just kind of share a bit of an overview of what I am seeing right now and what people can do.
Good. I think that's really good. I love the analogy. I often use golfing analogy that great golfers don't get there by natural instinct alone. It's not just about that or the practice. It's about the coaching. It's the analysis. It's the observations. And you sit in a really privileged position in that you work with lots of businesses in and outside of recruitment. You have the ability to look in and kind of go, well, why are you doing that there? And actually, to the person who's been doing that for a few years, that's their normal, isn't it? So
I think for me, right, everything is predominantly fixable. When it comes to coaching, maybe 5% of people are never going to kind of change their ways. But I think you're right. You go to golf. It's the first time you get told to change that grip. Right? Everyone goes, it didn't work, or I hate it. You're not going to transform a round of golf in one swing. And James is already laughing. But if you work at it, then you can definitely change your approach and your performance. And I think with what I do, what are the outcomes of what I do is I help people get very passionate about their business and what they're doing. But most importantly, I get them focused on what they're trying to achieve. I will double any business's productivity because that's my usual success rate, because people are inactive at times and their productivity levels are low. And if we can master the quality of their process and their sales performance with a high level of productivity in the right area of the market and with the right clients, how can you fail? Unless the individual as a leader you've hired isn't up for the challenge in the first place. So for me, really, if I walk into a business or I deliver a masterclass, the first thing I'm observing when I walk into a business is what's the energy like. And I was in Singapore not so long ago with a very large global reputable business whose name I won't mention. And the MD of that business wanted to give me a bit of a tour. I kid you not, I came onto the floor and I did say, is this HR or is this finance? And it was the sales floor. And so what's happened and what I've seen is because of COVID, and hey, we're doing it right now, everyone's become so far more online focused that actually the human capital and side to what is required to do deals and to build and win a relationship with people is that level of human interaction. And when I started out recruitment and how I became a global top biller and £1 million biller is I just spent my life in front of people, speaking to people. And with that came a level of energy. I do say to people that we are not librarians. And so we're not just transactional. People buy from people. And that comes down to, do I know you? Do I like you? And do I trust you? And you can't necessarily achieve that know, like, and trust overnight. But it's about how can I go about achieving relationships with people, and that obviously takes time. But I think the first thing of where I see underperformance would be in the energy level. So I like to try and make these sessions interactive. And if people have got a pen and paper, the first thing I'd ask you to write down is the word passion, and I'd like you to consider and give yourself a score out of 10. How passionate are we right now, as a business, and am I seeing that on the floor? How we're engaging with our clients and with our candidates? How do you measure that? Are people turning up on time? Are people maybe at times pushing themselves a little bit later than maybe what the specific finish time is? And are people excited about what we're doing? I think the other thing that I've noticed in coaching as well, due to predominantly a lack of leadership time with their troops, politics and red tape and the CRM doesn't work, I'm waiting for a budget to go on an international business trip, or I want to join a networking event. If those things can't get addressed and attached and resolved quite quickly, that can start to sour a business, and I see it. And then this person starts to bone to this person, and suddenly, the energy possibly, it could be a reason why the passion levels aren't there. So I think to build a high performance team, the leader has to lead from the front. They have to demonstrate the passion, the love for what we do as a business and as a company, our marketplace, that we're passionate about who we are, what we do, what differentiates us. I think the days, and I do see it, of this is a figure you've got to hit and go to it and kind of box ticking. Those days are long gone. It's about, if I'm the most experienced person that's maybe by default made me a sales manager or a director, it's not for me to sit to the side of the business. I want to stay in the middle and I want to keep an eye on. Ultimately, my love and reason for what I do is I love helping people. So how can you help people if you're in another office, or if your contact FaceTime with your business and your team is relatively limited? So I think, people that have achieved great rank and no doubt earn great salaries are there because they achieve great success. show your people how you did it, make a ton of mistakes with your people still, and you'll find that if you're not on the front line, which many senior leaders aren't necessarily, you'll learn a great deal about the true challenges of your people. And when I put events together and I design bespoke events for specific, different businesses, one of the first things I notice is that the takeaway, the homework, the light bulb is that I am not spending enough time with my people and my business. So I think that's the first thing is to assess how passionate are we. The second thing for me would then be, and I think this is the biggest weakness and why I brought it up, is do we know our pitch? Do we know our proposition? And for me, there's two pitches. There's the business proposition. Who are we as a business? What do we do? What makes us different? But then also, what's my personal pitch? For me, that's a really important aspect of the company and what we do, but also me, my backstory, what makes me different, and sharing some case studies. And I'm happy to kind of go into that in a bit more detail in a minute. But the third area of underperformance that I see is we're speaking to the same old people. And if you think about how do we make money on conversion rates. And for me, there are two types of conversion. There's the sales conversion ratio, what I call approaching a new client, if we talk about new business, and I've got to win them. The first thing we should measure is what I call our SCR, our sales conversion ratio. If I look across my business, or if I look at my desk as a recruiter, and I look at the market I've mapped and the list of companies I'd love to work with, what is my success rate in terms of my outreach to them, to convert, to get in front of them, to win an opportunity? If that's 10%, that means that 90% of the time I'm investing, I'm not making any money. Now, is that my fault? Do I blame the client, or do I then review, could I improve my strategy, my pitch, my techniques to get that meeting? So often people fear business development because it seems hard. And of course, it can be difficult. So we tend to keep on nurturing the same Rolodeck, or whatever it used to be called, of contacts, when really there is a ton of business out there that your competition is targeting, maybe working with, that you're not. So I think you've always got to keep an eye on are we speaking, and have we really mapped our markets and reviewed where the opportunities are? So I call it profitability. Are we actually on a day-to-day basis profitable, and are we speaking to the right people? So that's the third area of underperformance for me. The fourth area of underperformance, moving quickly for you, is what I see as productivity. We're just not out there enough. Lack of client interface, lack of candidate interaction, and pretty sloppy kind of email focused. Now relying, on AI to do all my interaction and outreach, and that's not an area that I'm going to sell to you. But I know if you come to the expo, which we'll talk about shortly, there'll be a ton of tech businesses, and every CRM is now bringing the AI, into developed outreach as part of the system. But when I go to my bank, or I still want to speak to someone at the end of the day, they're relying purely on knowing I'm dealing with a bot called Vera, which is what I seem to get with NatWest all the time. Have a chat with Vera, and they try and keep me away from moaning at my manager. And then the fifth and final area of underperformance, which again I've said we'll talk about with the time we have today, and that we do, is just the quality of our sales process. So the ability to win a meeting, how do we structure that meeting, how do we qualify, how do we pitch, and how do we close? So very quickly, that's the 5 areas of underperformance I will see, and I'll ask you to score yourself out of 10 for each one. Are we passionate? How well do we know our pitch? Check the person next to you and say, look, give me your 10-second elevator pitch, and decide how well you like it. Number 3, profit. Have we really mapped the market where the profit is? Number 4, productivity, how good are we? Where's the room for improvement? And number 5, process, how good is our actual sales process? And if this isn't, going back to the beginning, F1 being smart, timed, and reviewed, and finding the solution to it. Hi, I'm a motivational speaker and coach, so I can help you. If you haven't got someone externally, then you start to find it is X Recruitment Limited, our way of how we do things. So invest in a good coaching consultant to give you an insight into what the rest of the market is doing without naming names and breaching confidentiality. And if they're a good coach, guaranteed you'll have your money back within a month. And the rest is profit. That's where I see underperformance anyway.
Cool. Well, there's lots to unravel in that one in some ways. But one of the things that you said earlier on, Brad, that we're now all working in this way where we're all so used to being on Zoom or Teams or whatever particular events. So I just want to sort of say, obviously one of the things that you can pick up when you're actually in face-to-face events, you can actually pick up some of that energy which goes through, which is why you're coaching that you all do is obviously on a face-to-face level. But let's talk about, when are you next giving a live? When are people going to have an opportunity to see you live?
Yeah, so if you'd like to see me live, and I'll have the chance with more time to go into this in a bit more detail and a lot more visuals I can share with you. I've actually been invited to be one of the key speakers at the Recruitment Agency Expo. It's the week after next. It's Tuesday, the 17th of March. And I'm going to be on stage at 12:30. It's going to be high energy, interactive, and action-packed with a bit of music as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've been invited to speak with those guys now, Navman and Louise Triumphs, for about the last 10 plus years, year in, year out. So I'm hoping to see a good crowd. I'm told that lots of people are coming, and I'm going to make it very interactive. So I'll have a bit more time than I've got now to have the opportunity to meet you before or afterwards, but also actually run a structured system to qualify where is your underperformance, and most importantly, and as I'm going to cover now, what are some things, Brad, that we can do to fix that. So yeah, Recruitment Agency Expo, it's at the London XL, 17th of March, and I'm on at 12:30. And if you want to come or you want the link, I think it's been shown there, but send me a LinkedIn request and I can send you the information.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure we'll all look forward to seeing you there. For those of us who can make it.
Oh yes, that's right. You're off to the States, aren't you?
That's a different story. Joe, let's move it on, Joe. Let's ask Brad another question or get him to talk about some other bits and pieces.
Yeah, good. Okay, so look, we've spoken about the sort of the 5 main reasons why people underperform. What would your recommendations be then to an organisation if they're sat there watching this now and thinking, actually, that is us? What sort of things would you recommend that a business could put in place that's going to really help them to turn that around?
Yeah, okay. So the first thing I do is I would get everyone away for a half day or a full day, put an agenda together, a little bit like what I've just shared with you now, and really, I guess, get some feedback. If I was running the company, the first thing I'd want to do is have a chat with my leaders and my sales leaders and sales managers to get a feeling of where do they think is underperformance. And I promise you, I've been doing this for 25 years now. The 5 biggest reasons for underperformance is passion, proposition, profitability, productivity, or process. So if you take that as a system, then you can ask people how each person in their business feels about that, get them to score themselves. What you can do is there's 5 Ps, right? Score yourself out of 10, maximum score of 50. Let's say I score myself 25 out of 50, times it by 2, I'm 50% efficient. So I go back to the original statement I made. You want a high sales conversion ratio. So if my 5 P score is only 50%, I've immediately answered, why is my sales conversion ratio not where I want it? The sales conversion ratio wins the client. Then the most important, if I win the retainer or I win the opportunity to recruit for that client, is I then also want to be measuring what I call my PCR. My PCR is my placement conversion ratio, number of jobs received to the number of jobs that I actually place. Now, my placement conversion ratio was about 75%. And that's really for 2 reasons. What does that mean? Is that I only wasted 25% of my time, or someone else wasted it for me. But you want to make sure that you're profitable in your time, and you can only be profitable in your time if you're actually working with the right clients and you're working with the right candidates. And here's the biggest fear that salespeople have, is the fear of that person saying no and me pushing them too hard that they might say no to me. But a good salesperson's job when it comes to the sales process, for me, is either to qualify or disqualify. So it comes down to, if someone has a need, if a client used to say to me, a client comes to me now, we need a coach, I'll decide. We're hiring, I'll decide. A candidate says, I'm looking to move, I'll decide. And what I mean by that is, you need to have a really good qualification system in place to actually qualify that client and that candidate. Now, what I mean by that is, for me, I guess there are some important questions that you want to be thinking about. But ultimately, who am I speaking to? What do you do? Why are we speaking? Who else are you speaking to? When do you want to be looking at doing this? What's your budget? Is there sign-off? Now, some people might extract that kind of information over 45 minutes, but I kind of want to find it out pretty quickly when I'm on the phone or I'm doing a Teams with a client. And if that kind of sits right for me as an initial discovery conversation, then I'll have that longer meeting with them and we'll start to go back. So kind of taking notes and actually paying attention and listening in that sales call or that conversation is so important. The second thing relating to that is you've got to listen before you can pitch. So no one is going to go to a doctor and you walk, and we've all been to doctors. I've broken my back twice, what a plonker. Skiing and then water skiing. So anything with ski, I stay away from. When I came back from being flown back from France, and I broke about 20 bones in my body back in 2007, when I got to see the first surgeon who was going to review me, if he'd said, look, I've seen what your problem is and this is what you need, I'd be gone. We'd panic. So what does the doctor say? They go, right, let's start from the beginning. How the hell did this happen? Where were you? Then you tend to take your clothes off and they go, right, does that hurt? Does that hurt? Yeah, that hurts. Then they kind of go away. You put your clothes back on. You come around from the curtain. They're going through their book and they're beginning to think about medication, prescription, different ideas, different medical devices that you might need. They might give you a bit of a summary as to what they think is going wrong before they then pitch their expertise and they give you their prescription of what's required. Salespeople lose business because they're pitching before they've qualified. So what happens is I collect data and research on all my training programs and when I'm working with clients. The biggest reason why deals can be lost is that the client says one or two things and we start pitching. But the more questions you ask, the more that client is actually telling you how to pitch to them. So, what's the situation? What's the challenges that you're actually specifically facing as to why you've engaged with me? And a key question that I have is, you might have a challenge, but people only make decisions to invest in recruiters if there's a big implication. We're losing money, we're underperforming, our team won't grow, we won't deliver on a specific project at this point. So the word implication, what impact is that having on your business? For me is super important. And I score implication. If they go, look, Brad, we're pretty cool. Are they investing in a recruiter out of extravagance? It would be nice to hire more people, or necessity. We kind of want necessity over extravagance. So to understand necessity, you have to understand the pain and the implications attached to it. Before I then pitch them and say, well, let me tell you, I can help you. What solution are you looking for? What are you thinking about? What does good look like? What does great look like? What does awesome look like? When it comes to the candidate, I call it the MNPs. And I love what I do. I'm getting carried away now. What are your must-haves? What are your nice-to-haves? And most importantly, what are your pet hates? If you don't ask that question at the recruitment phase, you're going to find out from your client when you get the feedback, he or she's no good because they haven't got the must-have, they haven't got the nice-to-have, and you've put a pet hate on that CV. And I can recall years ago presenting to one of the investment banks I was recruiting for that I hadn't covered that question, and I'd met this client's major pet hate that sadly I had sent him 3 CVs, and all those 3 CVs had names of banks that he wasn't interested in me resourcing or headhunting out of. What an idiot. So what are the key companies you'd love to see on a LinkedIn profile and CV? Are there any specific companies that you're not interested in? Like simple stuff, right, that we only learn. Like I'm scarred to pieces from all the sales mistakes I made that's helped me design the modules and the projects and the programs that I now deliver. So the qualification side to me is super important. And again, going back to Joe, your question, what should we do? I would go away and go, look, what are the key questions we're asking, and find out what aren't we asking that we should be asking. So I think the qualification system, and again, Excel, I'll be covering that in more detail and sharing some content and slides on that with more time. But I think the qualification part is super important. So in terms of structuring the meeting, which I know was one of the offers for today, for me is, establish why we're there. Number one, how much time have we got? Just because I put an hour in your diary doesn't mean you're going to give me an hour. There's nothing worse than saying, Brad, I'm really sorry, but I've got to go. And you're like, excuse my French, shit, I haven't even pitched you yet. So keeping track of the time and running your timer and so on, all these small things, asking the client, what would you like to get out of today? I'm really grateful you've brought me in here. I'm one of 3. And by the way, I can't wait to pitch our intro as part of my proposition. But what's your objective? Why am I here? Who else have you spoken to? And a lot of people say to me, my God, I never asked who they've spoken to. I feel embarrassed about it. Is that any of my business? Why didn't they tell me? It's always your fault. It's your job to ask the question, because you're the salesperson, they're head of engineering, they're head of pharmaceutical design or aerodynamic design in the F1 world. So for me, we're in charge of being the doctor and qualifying before we then offer our level of prescription and go to the pitch. So for me, find out their objective, the agenda, the time, any key questions they have for me at this stage, which I won't necessarily answer right now, but I'll make a note of, and then go right, and then design this sales qualification template, which then should get me ready to the next phase of the meeting to pitch, take questions, objections, close, and agree next steps. So they will be some of the key areas of how we structure that meeting.
And Joe, one of the things that we do, I mean, obviously Brad's singing from the same hymn sheet as ourselves on this, was he, in terms of the importance that we see of qualification when we're running the Retained Recruiter Academy. You there, Joe? Can you hear me, Joe?
Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, massively important. I love what you said just then about qualifying out really more than qualifying in. What I find really interesting, and I'd like your observations on this, is that everything you're saying is highly consultative. It's spending time with the clients, it's spending time with the candidates, it's not accepting job descriptions by email, it's not speaking to candidates and sending them job descriptions. You know, when you're not trading in paper or emails here. So tell me what you're seeing in the industry around this. You said it before, this kind of shift away from it being a people-based industry into being more of like a paper-based industry. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so you know what, I get asked this a lot, and I get people say to me, Brad, this all sounds great, but I've been given one account, it's portal only. She or he won't speak to me, and I've been given the account. You know, and I work across F1, aerospace, aviation, construction, multiple different recruitment industries, and there's always someone on my program that has that challenge. Well, it's a bit like our investments, right? I've got some great ones, and I've invested in some really bad ones. You know, so you know, you've got to mix your portfolio. So, you know, that PSL account you've got, it's hard work. You know, I get it, but then I've got to go out to market to find the client where I can have that level of human interaction, you know, with someone. I mean, I'd go stir crazy if I was portal only. You know, my personality and how I win business, hopefully, and you know, we're all Marmite, is I like getting in front of people and getting to know people. And I'll tell you something, Joe, that the sales statistic for our industry, across any industry in sales, is that you need to have 7 to 12 points of contact with a client or a candidate before they'll buy from you. So I say this, is that, what do I mean by that? Is it means that you've got, that this isn't just transactional unless it's the portal thing. But when it comes to human interaction, this is what I want everyone who's listening to me right now to think. What can I do to have 7 to 12 points of contact with James O'Brien and Joe to build some sense of a relationship, to get in front of them, to meet with them, to try and do business with them? You know, if I just reached out to you once, this is what I do, I'd love to meet with you, and you say no, what do I give up? And here's the thing, 80% of people give up on the first call or the first outreach. You know, so they could be the right person, it's just the wrong time. And the time to strike, when do you send the email? When do you make the call? You know, I always think about when your clients are trading and do they want to speak to you? So what's their trading time? Maybe start getting up earlier and firing out some messages to them first thing in the morning. Don't try and follow up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Maybe try 4:30, 5 end of the day, or maybe 1 o'clock for certain people works because you know they're having a lunch break. You know, so you've got to really think about the psychology behind sales. And if you go back to our loved ones and why you're in a relationship or you just ditch them, is for 3 key reasons, right? I know you, but I don't like you. I know you and I like you, but I don't trust you. So if you consider all your relationships with your friends and the ones that, you know, we have with our partners now, hopefully, it's based on those 3 aspects. So therefore, we don't maintain friendships with friends, and we don't maintain client relationships if there's a breakdown in one of those 3 areas. So therefore, I like to help companies, and that's what I do on my masterclasses or in-house with different businesses around the world, is go, right, let's build an outreach strategy of what can we do online and offline that includes 7 to 12 touch point strategy that enables us to get known, to get liked, and to get trusted. Because all of us that are in relationships, you know, it wasn't off the back of one date. It was off a back of a variety of different communications venues over different periods of time. And 7 maybe to 12 times, we decided we'd start seeing each other. So whilst I'm sharing the personal, and I call that the romance, why don't we start thinking about the romance with our clients and our candidates? Because that in itself can be a differentiation. They don't just want a product or a service pitch all the time. They want to get to know you. They want to see proof on LinkedIn, any other proof that you want to share with them, to see that you're true, you know, because there's a lot of rubbish and a lot of BS spill in all industries of sales. You know, delivering on your promises is a key thing. You know, turning up on time. Do what you say you're going to do, and show also whether they're recruiting right now or they're not, or they want to move as a candidate or they don't. Maintain that contact with them and that level of interest with them to see how they're going. A lot of candidates at times I didn't place very regularly, but because I showed care in them and other people didn't, they referred leads to me, either internal client leads, candidate leads, you know, organizing drinks. You know, are people still doing that anymore? So all those people that do international recruitment, are you investing some money to take care of all the people that you may have placed within that organization, or are you just looking for new business? Because I always want to say thank you to people that have given me business, and I do my very best to stay in contact with them. And, you know, I think we should take a genuine love and passion in what we do, and that it's not just about money, but it's about staying interested, keeping an interest with some wonderful people that we've met in our lives, you know, whether we do business with them or not. Again, you know, you can build that profile out there and get referred at times, even if right now you're not working with them. So I think around that is important.
But let's find a way to meet some more people. So let's just share. I just want to share with people one of the reasons why you've got that big picture behind you.
Go on then, James.
It's quite timely. That you know, one of the things we're putting together with you, Brad, is a masterclass, because masterclasses give people more time to take in what you're saying, because it's really fast what you're saying at this moment in time. So just want to put up on screen there. You can see that we're putting together a masterclass, Brad, that you're running, or we're running together. But why don't you talk us through what people can see on screen?
Yeah, so I'm super excited to share this with you, and I've been working with James on this. And this is a business development masterclass. It's called Winning Your Business in 2026, Business Development for Peak Performance, with a huge F1 element to it. It's taking place in London on Wednesday, the 22nd of April, at a fantastic venue, the Dixon Hotel. The objective of the day basically is working with a group of people who want to become the go-to recruiters and the go-to business in their industry. And I'm super excited to say that I have engaged a very, very special coach and now friend of mine, Richard West. He has been in the Formula One industry as a business leader for 20 plus years. He's worked with McLaren, he's worked with Arrows, he's worked with Ferrari, he worked with Senna, he worked with Schumacher. His presentation, you know, we did this last year, is off the charts on how do pit teams change those tyres on under 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It's really good timing. The Melbourne F1 starts this coming weekend, and we're going to have Rich in 6 weeks' time, talking about the lessons from Formula One, that the business leaders that attend this day, how do they go about actually building a high performance team and a high performance business. So who is it for? It is for business leaders, sales managers, BDMs, recruiters, and headhunters. And it's going to be an action-packed day, interactive, with a ton of takeaways. We'll create a group following the masterclass for me to follow up, give people access to me beyond that actual day, to set some real practical strategies around a variety of ideas. And really, for me, there are 7 things that we will be covering on that day. My proposal, my philosophy is that to become the star in your industry, you've got to map that journey. So I'm going to spend the day with Richard and also with you, James and Joe, on getting you guys motivated, number 1. Number 2, we're going to clarify your real ambition as to what you want to achieve commercially this year in terms of both the clients you want to be winning and the fees that you want to earn, but most importantly, the personal income that you want to build. Step 3, we're going to help you build a sales plan and a marketing plan to go to market, to map your market. We're going to dig deep. We're going to dive deep on actually profiling the sort of businesses that you want to be working with. And also, most importantly, giving you the chance to sit next to someone that maybe you don't know, to understand, especially if you're a small business, how are you guys operating in your market? What's working for you? So I think the ability to network, collaborate, and interact will be huge. Once we've designed your plan, we're going to break down what your sales and marketing strategies can be. I'm going to share some ideas around the 7 to 12 point touch strategies, time to strike, all these things I've kind of spoken about very briefly. We're then going to move into step 5, techniques. How to win a meeting, how to pitch your business in under 10 seconds. If you're going to a more high-level corporate boardroom presentation, how do you structure that meeting? And I'll be giving you some specific IP that we're going to design, practice that you can take away back to your desk and into your marketplace. Step 6, we're going to be talking about what your activity levels should be, not KPIs, but to hit the figures you want to do. What does your outbound activity need to look like? How to go to networking events, how to network. That's a key area where people get a little bit concerned at times as to how to manage that event and get the ROI from it. And finally, step 7, how to measure the results. So for me, if you want to become the star in your industry, you've got to map that journey. And I've just shared the 7 steps of Mapstar with yourself. And then we're going to do drinks, maybe a little bit live music. I'm probably going to bring my guitar afterwards to share with you. This is the event that I did with Richard West last year. You know, we had a great turnout. I think the faces there alone just show the energy and the joy that I'm trying to bring to the industry. I love what I do. I'm here to help people. And I love an underdog. I love someone that maybe is struggling right now. You know, mental health has been a big challenge for people during COVID. You know, I very sadly lost my mum during COVID, and it affected me massively. So people that are struggling with mental health now, right, and that can just be, my boss is really on my case and nothing's working. I'm going to hug you, and I'm a big guy, and I really want to see what I can do in one day to help you build your confidence, because the first thing I said is, if you ain't passionate, you ain't going to succeed. So anyone out there that feels that they are maybe questioning their passion right now, their confidence, their capability, or as a leader, my guys and girls could do with this for a day, I promise you, this is the day for you.
Excellent.
And look at that.
It is the most beautiful hotel. It's right by Tower Bridge. That's the area where you'll be registering. It's actually an old courthouse, and we have reserved the chamber room, which is beautiful. It's all wooden panelled. So, I didn't want to go to a cheap venue, which some other maybe providers do. James and myself were investing a lot of money in this. So I wanted to produce a great venue, fantastic lunch, which is also included in the price that we're charging. And then they have the most phenomenal cocktail bar and mixologist for the evening, and a bit of music, like I said, as well. So I'm hoping it's going to be a really great day. And I want to make it bespoke. So it's not like structured and just tons of slides and modules. It's there. It's going to be highly interactive. So loads of breakouts to really discuss how you're doing things. Share it with your buddies, share it with your team, share it with me, and then I will share the best practice I think of what we've achieved from each session is what you could do. So there'll be a lot of takeaway. There will be some homework as well. So if you're not attending as a sales leader, but you want to send people, every person on that day will produce a video diary of what their key highlights have been, and they've all got to come back to their business and pitch you. So I'm going to give you some proper IP and structure. It sounds good, but actually stuff that is designed to make money. We're charging 3, 4, 5. What is percentage of that? Is that of your annual billings or turnover? It's peanuts. And what's the value of your average fee? I'm sure that 345 quid is a fraction. So we're not doing it to make money. We're doing it to really give you access to me, and most importantly, to iIntro, and to get the access to Richard West. I don't know if there are any F1 fans, or you can give a thumbs up in the comment. The only thing I will do say is, it's not the biggest venue. Spaces are limited. So if you would like to attend, then I would love to get to know you for the day. And I will give you my absolute all, both on the day and afterwards at no additional charge. If there's any follow-up or questions that you have, that's on me. If you want to invest in this masterclass for the day, it's unique. No one else has designed anything like this at the level of high performance that I'm going to deliver it at, with the quality of speaker and someone like Richard West, and a great iIntro team as well. So if you want to become the number one in your industry, this is your day to attend, and I will tee you up very nicely. I'd like to suggest that. I will.
Excellent, Brad. We're looking forward to that. So let's carry on. Joe, what are the things that we've got to share with Brad, or ask Brad to share with the rest of us?
Well, loads. We've booked this for 45 minutes. So if anyone's sat there thinking, hang on a minute, these guys are going on. Oh no, it's a 45-minute session, and we knew that 45 minutes wasn't going to be enough. Brad, I'm going to hand it over to you. There was a ton of stuff that you wanted to cover. I know we've covered quite a lot already. We've got 5 minutes. Is there anything else you want to get? Well,
I know we're going to show the promo video in a minute about the masterclass, and hopefully Julie has that ready. And thank you. But I think the most important thing when it comes to pitching is just look at how you're actually engaging with your audience right now. So pitching isn't just to win the deal. And that's what you've got to remember. Every time you're introduced to someone, every time you send a link in email, I'm a recruiter, I work at a company, have you heard of us? That's not a pitch. So I would say, the key thing for me is, who are you? What do you do? What's your expertise? What's your expertise or specialization? How do you help companies? So I'm a recruiter in the tech space for a company called X. Have you heard of us? And are you free for a conversation? That's not a pitch. That's not romance. That's not going to get me to come on a date with you. So you've really got to think about, who are you and what do you actually do? How do you help people? How do you specialize? I specialize in motivating, creating, developing high-performance sales teams. What's the outcome of what you do? And ultimately, what you can put in there is who you're working with, without naming names. People are very engaged in your positioning in the marketplace. So the size of businesses that you recruit for, if you can name some names, the markets you cover, the geography. So a lot of people are engaged or are impacted by status and size of your business, because that to them is what I call the ego attached to all of us, is how big are you, how good are you? So don't just say who you are and what you do. As that initial introductory pitch, make sure that people actually know who you are and who are you actually working with and where are you positioned in the market. This I will cover in far more detail and get everyone to practice it on the day at the masterclass. And I know, with the time allowing, I don't know if Julie is able to.
Let's show the video, Brad, because it's just a couple of minute video. It's a short video, but show people what they might be able to get.
This is what we're going to do together.
We'll watch the video. We'll come back and we'll just wrap it up at the end of that.
let the show begin. Let's go. Hey there, my name is Brad Shackleton. I'm a motivational sales leadership coach. Today, it is my business development masterclass called How to Drive a Winning Business. I don't do boring. I like people to have fun. BD, business development, is an absolute key aspect of how you build a winning business. And the scariest place to be is in the same place as last year, and you've got to grow. It's going to be high energy, interactive, reflective, and I might just finish with a phenomenal song. Come along and join me. And I hope you're listening. Sales is the lifeblood of your business. Complacency is the greatest barrier to success.
From the short time that we saw Brad in London, just his enthusiasm, his passion, and just bringing something a little bit different to some of the motivational speakers that we've seen before, we just had to come and see him.
The question is, are you doing enough to win that person's business? That's why that pitch, fight night, becomes really important, that you master your song.
Brad talks so much about how to elevate what we do. Our industry, going from not just being 95% efficient, but actually that 99 to 100%, that extra 1%. So that for me has been really engaging.
If you always do what you've always done, then you're always going to get what you've always got. This is good.
So the content today has been amazing. So obviously Brad, big personality, engages the whole audience, which is really, really good.
It has been fabulous.
Really cool day.
Like nothing I've ever been to before.
I really love Brad Shackleton, the confidence he has, the style he has in delivering, the brilliant content which he has, which helps develop world-class sales performances within our teams.
Sales is poker. Get good at it. Practice it. Don't run from it.
I'd recommend Brad. He really understood the culture of my business and what we needed to do to change that culture.
Brad Shackleton is levels above everybody else that I go to see. He's engaging, he's interactive, he gets everybody in the room involved rather than just sitting back and listening to the same old thing. He is fantastic.
Why are you in this room today, and who is it for? What is your why?
The way that the event was orchestrated was to really make sure that everybody engages with one another, and we get to practice all of the tips that we're sharing. And there was a lot of music. Brad is very talented indeed, so we got to hear those vocals.
My name is Brad Shackleton. Thank you, and good night.
My original why was, I'll show you, for all those people who said I couldn't do it.
There you go.
There you go, Brad, we're back.
Yeah, great. I've not seen that recently, so that's really nice to see how it's been produced. So thanks for sharing that. It's a day of high energy, meeting new people, and let's break down in one day how you can really smash and win new business this year at peak performance. And I think that the interaction, Richard West will be there for the full day, not just giving a talk. His inclusion on how F1 achieves such a high level of performance and what he'll share, you can very much take back to your business and embed it, the following day. So,
this is about takeaways. This is about actionable stuff. This isn't just a gloss. This is doing things.
No. We're going on a mission for a day to transform your business and shape it up. Get match fit, combat ready for a big 2026. So I'm not coming to discuss ideas. I'm going to give you some real practical stuff, step-by-step roadmap for growth this year in the time that I've got. It's going to be fast-paced, high energy, with a great level of interaction. I know you'll meet people that you won't meet without attending, and you'll make some new great connections, and hopefully a new brother or sister in the room that you can connect with and buddy up with each other outside of your businesses. I think support is what is really important, and a lot of people just don't get the support they're looking for internally, and that's why we've designed this day. I don't know if Julie would be able just to kindly put the poster back up.
Oh, the poster was going to get there.
Yeah, and if you grab your phones, for those that are listening and watching, and you take or you grab the QRI code there, that should take you to the landing page if you would like to attend. If you want to know any more, then please just send me a LinkedIn connection request directly, and I'm very happy to answer any further questions you have. But a great deal of effort, and a huge thanks to James, to Joe, and the whole team behind the scenes for putting this together. But I promise you an awesome day of high performance sales, BD, and people and energy. And I hope that you will return to your business feeling a very different person and actually feeling capable for a big year. That's the mission, and that's what we will achieve.
Good. Well, Joe, that's a whistle stop tour, wasn't it? So yeah, we just need to wrap this one up now and thank everybody for watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've had lots of people watching today, which is great. So thank you very much. Thanks to Mohammed. He's popped hi everyone in the chat, which is good. And also Dale Fisher. So hi Brad, loving the energy as always.
Dale Fisher is applying the very system that I've just shared with you about what this masterclass is about. He applied it so well, he went and set up his own business and is doing super well out in Spain. So Dale Fisher, you are my ambassador. I didn't know you were here. I hope you're well, mate. And I can see that you're killing it on LinkedIn. So hopefully there's a testimonial right there. There's an example of someone that I worked intensively with, who I bumped into about 6 months ago. He said, Brad, I'm applying everything you taught me and it's working. And he's building a super successful business. So Dale, great timing, my friend. I will wire you the cash.
Yeah.
Just listen to me. I'm going to speak. I'm speaking with Dale in about 15 minutes. So
are you? Yeah, wonderful chat. So I know that James and Joe and Julie and the team are going to be sending out an email in the next day or so with the landing page. But if you would like to register your interest on that QRI code, so that we know, or James knows, who to get in contact with. But yeah, I would love to work with you for the day, and I hope it's I hope that you'd like to be a part of a journey with me, you know, and I'm very much here to see you succeed and become the very best that you can be.
Excellent. Listen, Brad, thank you very much for your attendance today. We look forward to catching up with you on the masterclass. Joe, we're back again. When are we next back?
So we're back in a fortnight's time, and we're going to be talking to the wonderful Ian Knowlson, so getting some insights into the industry, looking at his observations and predictions for 2026. So that's going to be really good. We've got some more present company accepted great guests coming up over the next few months as well. But other than that, Brad, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. If we can track you down in another 12 months, it'd be great to have you back. But in the meantime, we look forward to seeing you at the Rec Expo, and we look forward to seeing you at Tower Bridge in London.
Absolutely. Send me a LinkedIn request for those that would like to learn more. I'll answer your questions, and yeah, let's have a great day together in April. And if not, I'll see you in March. And again, come and find me then. Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye, guys.